So good news, Terri Harper was in the building. So we knew from the Sunny Edwards photos that we saw just last week, actually, that Terri Harper was there with him. Now, I did have somebody in the comment section of that video who really was like, they had talked to somebody in the Discord, and Terri Harper was scheduled for this week in order to actually do Mocap. And just as my man said, Terri Harper was in there doing her motion capture this week, which is good, man, because this is really the first female that we've seen who has actually gotten in there to really do like motion capture. We've seen pictures of like Sinisa Estrada taking her actual like photos, but we really don't know whether she got her motion cap done. And this is really the first time we've seen somebody in SCI studio full up mocap getting done. Now, what I would also like to know is whether Terri Harper is actually being utilized in the same instance that Sunny Edwards is. So we know that Sunny is going to be doing mocap for not only himself, but for, you know, other fighters and things like that, the non-marquee fighters that are in the game. So my question is Terri Harper potentially going to be doing the exact same thing? Will she be doing mocap for some of the lady fighters who won't be considered on that marquee level? Now, with that said, I think when it comes to just the promotion of the women fighters overall, I personally wish that ESBC would give like a little bit of a harder push. It's great to see Terri Harper in the ring. Like I mentioned before, we've seen Sinisa Estrada. Also, we've seen Katie Taylor. But at the same time, we've only really seen one really big like promotional push. And that was really kind of with Sinisa Estrada. Now, I'll say that the video that they did for Sinisa Estrada, I thought was actually like pretty dope. It was short, but it promoted her like extremely well. It was a great introduction for anybody who didn't know who Sinisa Estrada was. So my 2 cents, man, I would really like to see SCI do a little more of those types of like just small promotional bits. Not just for the lady fighters, but for some of the other additional fighters that we really haven't heard about, or even some that are actually on the roster now, man. It would be great to be able to give a lot of these guys an opportunity, and ladies, an opportunity to kind of like promote themselves in one little small like video. All right, so now let's transition over to you guys' questions. I guess this is almost like question of the day now, where we're getting it. But the next question comes from Robert Samuels over on the eSports Boxing Club Facebook page, one of the like 10 Facebook pages that they have over there for ESBC. It just goes to show how popular ESBC is becoming. But Robert Samuels is asking whether we are going to be able to change speed variables during fights with punches and combinations, more dynamic range of movements. So in order to kind of tackle that, I would say we would have to reference back to one of the previous gameplay videos, and particularly when they showed the ability for us to do feints, like the feigning system that's in the game. Looking at that alone, I've always been a massive fan of having a really good feint system in any form of fighting game at all. If you can establish a good feint game, then you change the entire dynamic. You change the entire dynamic of the game itself, because now it's no longer just about reactions and speed and all of that type of stuff. It's more so about getting good reads on an individual, because a feint literally allows you to read your opponent, and it allows you to read their tendencies, their some of the abilities that they have. You will be able to pull a lot of data out of somebody by simply having a good feint. So, not to digress too far away from what Robert's question was, but I believe that more than likely we will be able to change the speed up on our punches a little bit. You actually kind of get a sense already when they throw some of their punches, they're not all necessarily coming at the exact same speed. Now, I don't know if that's done by design or if that's literally just down to like the game graphical design deal in itself. But honestly, I do believe that we'll be able to change up at least a little bit of speed. At the very least, if we cannot change up the speed on our punches, and all of that is done variably in the game, then the feint system alone, I think, is something that's going to add enough of an extra wrinkle to the boxing, to the game itself, and to the fight mechanics, in order to get kind of the same idea of what you want to get out of being able to change up the speed of your punches. So that will do it today. Look, Terri Harper was in the Sheffield studio doing her mocap, man. I think that's great. Again, like I said, just with Sonny Edwards, whenever we get to see somebody in there doing mocap, we know that the game is moving forward. This game is coming, man, and it just keeps inching closer and closer and closer. And even small bits of information like this, man, just get you a little bit closer and closer and closer to the game, man. So like I tell y'all every time, appreciate you for coming back to the Coach's Corner. I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace out.